And here we have an example of triplets that do not look alike. Scourge doesn't really need the sweeps to be clones, right? Anyway, we're gonna have a look and see how these guys measure up, especially the focus on the main one, because I've already reviewed the other two earlier versions. We're gonna look at the latest incarnation of the Decepticon Lieutenant. This is the Titans Return Deluxe Class Scourge. And I guess I'll talk about Fracas a little bit in the latest GotBot True Review. Okay folks, welcome back to the channel. I'm your host, Dennis Moulton, aka GotBot, and you see before you three versions of Scourge. This is the Generations version, this is the United version, and this is the new Titans Return version. The Generations version, he got 8s across the board for color, for posability, playability, and for transformation when I reviewed him. He's a good Scourge. He's an 8. I even like the stealth bomber type of alt mode for him. The United version, and I'll take him out of it. The United version, he scored a little bit higher. He got a 9 overall when I reviewed him. Same for posability, playability, and transformation, but I thought his paint and that beautiful, beautiful blue that was used on it, it popped him up to a 10. And now we have the newest incarnation of this character. This guy. His paint apps out of package were about a 7. Unless you are going for G1 toy accuracy, then they're pretty much a 10. But if you were going for, you know, animation accuracy, they were about a 7. And for me, they were about a 7. So I did a few custom paint apps. I put silver on the thighs, I put silver on the hands, and a pinky red on the tips of his fingers to give him, you know, more Scourge-esque hands. I put silver here on the arm, silver here on the arm. I applied it honestly with a toothpick. I put silver on the stomach, and perhaps the most important aspect is I painted in his goatee and his, well, you know, his mustache and his goatee. I think now he's about a 9. He is about a 9. He is looking pretty sweet, I do believe. Fracas doesn't look like Fracas. The coloring is wrong. I appreciate them giving him the name as an homage to, you know, the G1 Target Master version of the character. But his coloring is off. He's not black and gray. Obviously, he's kind of a mostly blue with a bit of silver. Paint apps 2, posability, playability 2, transformation 2. I'll show him just for the sake of doing it, but I am probably never going to use Fracas as Fracas. You can see the paint and the way I did the paint on the face. If you open him up, there's his transformation. Here's Fracas and what Fracas looks like. He has the same posability. This guy is not pinned at the hips. I find it so strange that some of these are and some of these aren't. His arms go out a little bit. His head can go around. It's on a ball joint. He can bend at the knee and sit down. And when you transform him, he goes like this, and the little piece does come up. It's a nice head sculpt though, but it needed that paint, no doubt. So we're gonna put that back on. So, just for interest's sake, here he is with Mania King, my version of Galvatron, with Combiner War Cyclonus. Here he is with Cyclonus' Armada, and a sweep, and another sweep. You know, I think the group shot looks pretty good, to be honest with you. Yeah, he's certainly a bit different than than the original version, but I like it and he stands out. So I'll take all of those out of it. So paint apps, they were a 7. Now I think they're a solid 9. The posability, playability, well, his head, you know, can go left and right. It looks up and down a little bit. His head is not as tight as Blur's. You can see it shaking there, right? But it's secure. Like if you turn him upside down and shake him, it's not coming out. So it is solid, and it does go left. It does go right. The arms can, you know, they can swing all the way around. There is a bicep swivel. There's about a 90-degree elbow bend. I guess the wing pieces, they can move. His cowl pieces, they can move okay. His hands can go, you know, in a little bit and out a little bit. Like that. No swivel on these hands. The legs, they do the splits really wide. There's a thigh swivel, and there's about little under 90-degree bend. Little under 90-degree bend, but still certainly functional. And the toes tilt forward, and the heels can, I guess, tilt forward and back as well. He stands pretty solidly, actually. In terms of his weapons, well, he comes with 2. He comes with this that I think is supposed to be used really in the alt mode and reminiscent of his little spot on his crown of his on the crown of his head. And he comes with this blaster that I think is supposed to be shaped more like Fracas, and you can see Fracas in here, or any of the Titan Masters. And of course he can hold them in either hand. One there, and you know, one there, like that. If you want to take Fracas off and open him out, as I said, I guess you might have to put his arms forward. As I said, he can go seated in the blaster as well. So you have that, you know, you have that going for it. Some people, like me, have said, I don't like this guy as a headmaster. I don't like him as a Titan Master, whatever you want to call it. Again, you don't have to use him as such if you don't want to. He can fully transform. If I can get this in. There. He can fully transform with his head attached. No problem. If you don't want the guns in his hands, well, you can take those off as well. And they actually can go together. There's a circular hole right here, and I mean, you could peg this forward, or you could turn it around and have it face back, make it, you know, one gun. And on the very back here, there's a hole in the middle of his back where you can store the whole thing. So it's nice. It's actually, you know, as good of weapon storage as you could really kind of hope for. So far this guy's doing well. He's doing well. And we're going to go into the transformation and see how that is. The older mold, I liked it. It was a good transformation, and it got an 8. Let's see what this guy gets. You begin by flipping in the hand and flipping in the hand, straightening the arm and straightening the arm. You're going to bring the arms up, and I guess in his armpit there's a little tab. I'll see if I can show it to you. Maybe if I swing his arm forward, you can see it. There's a little. Maybe if I swing it back, you can see it. maybe you can't see it. There's a little tab in right here. And when you bring the arm up, you're basically looking to tab it on to that tab. Don't bring the arm up all the way that it can go, because the hole for the tab will be a little bit too high. I almost kind of push up and in at the same time, to be honest with you. And I find that that gets me, at least most of the time, that gets me pretty much in the position that I need to be. Although this arm now does not want to do it. And there you go. So you need to kind of push them up and in. It is a little bit fiddly. I'm not going to pretend that it's not. Getting the arms in is a little bit fiddly. You take the toe and you flip it into the heel. You take the toe and flip it into the heel, and then you flip the whole heel down, and you flip the whole heel down. I don't know why they just didn't put a waist swivel here, but you extend the body, and I just popped the head off, but that's neither here nor there. It pops back on, no problem. And then you turn it around. I don't know why they just didn't give him a waist swivel and call it good. I guess with the wings it just would have been too difficult. Once you flip it around, you really take the whole thing and you turn it around. So now you're looking at the top of what will be the vehicle mode. You turn the leg and you turn the leg so that they're facing each other. The two halves of the Decepticon symbol should guide you. You open out. Maybe I should have shown this before I turned the leg. You open out the front of the thigh and you bring it all the way around. And you do the same thing on this side. You open up the thigh and you bring it all the way around. Now you can turn them to face each other. You're going to basically bend the leg up, but when you... You're basically going to bend the leg up, but when you do bend the leg up, you're going to bring it all the way up, because this hip joint allows you to bring it all the way up. And you're going to bring it in. You're going to do the same on the other side and bring it all the way up. And bring it in, and then the two legs tab together at a number of points. You can probably see a number of them there, actually. And you bring the whole thing together like that, and the toes together like that. There's the front of the vehicle mode. Done. Now, you take the wing pieces and you bring them down. When you bring them down, there's a tab here and a tab here. Goes into a slot here on the leg and a slot up right here in the middle of the shoulder. So you bring it down and you tab it in there, and you tab it in there. You bring this down and you do the same thing. You tab it in both places, and in the end, boom, there you go, Scourge in his vehicle mode. Now there's a few options here. You see what I have done there. Of course you can take that off and just put this piece right there to give a more traditional look, and there's another hole up right here where you could fit this gun. If I can get it in the hole where you can fit that gun. You can take Fracas, who I have left here now in the back. You don't see him from this side, you don't see him from this side, you just see him from the back. And if I hold him up this way, you'll see exactly what I mean, because you can see all of Scourge's robot mode in underneath. Fracas can either go in the gun up here, as I already showed when the gun was being held in Scourge's hand, or you can take the whole thing and open it from the back. I didn't take that off. You can open this from the back, and it tabs in there pretty securely, and you can put Fracas in here, and of course close it up. And if you take Fracas out, you know, this is the vehicle mode. So leaving him there doesn't change a whole lot. You know, it is what it is. It is a transformation that has its precise points. I'm going to give his transformation, again, about an 8. It's it's a mode that looks more accurate to what we know him as weird as this is, a space submarine, I don't know. It is stronger than the older mold in some ways and weaker in some ways. When I reviewed Blur, I said that both the older version and the Titans Return version got the same mark. They're strong in different ways, they're weak in different ways, but they're both great figures. This is the same thing. Honestly, both the older Scourge and the newer Scourge mold have their merits. They really do. They have their merits, and they're pretty much the same mark. You do not need to update your Scourge. If you've been on the fence about this guy, I don't think you need him. If you saw him and thought, that silhouette really does look like Scourge, he's still a pretty great figure. Overall, you probably wouldn't be disappointed with him. If you're trying to decide between one or the other, I think you'll win either way. Either way that you go in your collection, I think that you will win. Anyway, that clues it up for this guy. Like I said, he is, he is pretty good. He's pretty good. Blur and Scourge, definitely not the strongest in the Wave 1 Deluxes for Titans Return. But certainly not the weakest figures that we've gotten, not by a long shot. Anyway, thanks for dropping by. Please, check me out everywhere and check out my work. And I look forward to the next time that you drop by and have a visit. The next time that we get together right here, inside the videos.